Is it not working? It's just spinning.
It says we're live, 8 seconds.
Is it?
Yeah, looks as if we're going.
So, let me just do the intro then.
Every night is the Rangers Journal night.
Hello everyone, how you all doing? It's Andrew here from the Ibrox Channel podcast. We are live on the Rangers Journal. It's Bank Holiday Monday. And what better way to end your glorious bank holiday weekend than with these three lovely guys here to discuss yesterday's bit of a dead rubber Old Firm. This pod's called the Dull Dead Rubber. We're going to be talking about the game. And I think most of the fallout from yesterday's come from events off the park. So yeah, you can never have an Old Firm game just go by, can you? Just with for once, actually, the referee's not been spoke about, but we'll speak about that in a little bit as well. But we are being joined tonight by Ryan. How you doing, big man?
I'm doing okay, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure, Ryan. Always a pleasure. You feeling better after yesterday?
Jury's still out on that. Jury's still out. Ask me again tomorrow.
Ask you again tomorrow. Yeah, definitely. And Deano, like a ray of sunshine, the God is shining his glorious rays on him. Look at that beautiful boy. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, my man. How are you?
Not too bad. He's paying me a tenner to say that, so don't worry, guys. But yeah, good to have you on, Dino. Good to have you on, big man. And of course, we are here with Mark as well, looking at fresh. How you doing, mate?
Hi, I'm okay, mate. I'm okay. Thank you very much. Hope the elbow's feeling a wee bit better.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I was. I'll tell you a story about it actually. Because I was supposed to do the pod last week. But unfortunately, I was playing football the day before and I was having quite a good game in goal. But then the inner Jack Butland came out. So I went to pass the ball out to the defender because, we like playing from the back. We like to be a nice possession-based team. And as I played the ball out, the striker nipped in and got it. So I'm like, oh, kind of caught off my line. I go back and I just slip, land straight on it. And but for what it's worth, I did keep playing on because I thought, oh, you know what, I don't think it's broke. But yeah, no, I should have listened to my body. It wasn't good. But I think it's time to retire now. I'm 38, so but I might be a bit slow getting the comments up tonight, guys, just because of I haven't used my left hand, and yeah, it's one of those. But yeah, so welcome everybody. We are going to be discussing the Dull Dead Rubber yesterday. Now, Ryan, is any Old Firm game really ever a dull dead rubber?
Not when there's so much pride involved in the fixture. Obviously, for competition purposes, the competition's over for the season. But there's a matter of pride to play for. And you know that our rivals are going to be coming into our stadium with a bit of a swagger about them, considering they only just won it last week. And nothing would have made us more happy than to actually just knock that swagger off of them and take the smile off our face. But it wasn't to be.
It wasn't to be, yeah. I'll get Dino's thoughts in just a second, but before we go forward, we are sponsored by Off to the Match I Go. They've got some absolutely fantastic stuff on their website. Scan the QR code, which is in the corner of the screen, and you'll be taken to the website. There's also a competition, which is ongoing at the minute, where you can win an incredible frame graphic signed by Willie Johnson and Colin Steen. To enter, just drop a screenshot showing that you subbed to the Rangers Journal on YouTube and Off to the Match below on Facebook. Just drop us a DM with that, and once we hit 3K subscriptions, we'll do a draw, and we'll see who wins that fantastic picture. Dino, you've seen that picture, haven't you? How good is it in the flesh?
It's pretty smart, to be fair. Like, if I wasn't a member of the Journal, I'd definitely be entering it to get it from my old man for Father's Day, that's for sure.
Yeah, two Ibrox legends in that picture. That's we could definitely hark back to those days, definitely. So, Dino, what were your thoughts yesterday going into the game? I'll go through the team very shortly, but was this a game you were up for, or was it just a game you kind of wanted to get out the way? How were you feeling going into this?
I just wanted to get out the way, as I want to get this season out the way. I didn't think we were going to win. I actually thought that they were going to come with their chest puffed and bulldozer over us, to be quite honest with you. That's what I was expecting, given they've just obviously left the league and they'd be on a high. So yeah, and then when I saw the team news, I was like, I wasn't particularly impressed with the team lineup, to be fair, with a couple of folk in there that I wouldn't have had in. But however, I was expecting us to get beat 3-0, as I said on the pre-match pod. So.
Yeah, not much faith there, Deano. Deano of little faith there. But to be honest, it is understandable when you've seen the performances for this team, especially this half of the year. We've been absolutely atrocious at Ibrox. We haven't won since February at Ibrox, which is just unheard of, isn't it? Mark, before I come to you, mate, I'll go through the team. So we had Liam Kelly in goals, a back four of James Tavernier, John Suter, Leon Balogun, and of course Hefty in at left back. Now, some people were labeling this as a 4-3-3. Some were saying kind of a 4-2-3-1, but that kind of midfield three, we had Diamande with Barron and Raskin. Then we had Cherny, Bajrami, and Dessers up top. Was there any surprises in that lineup for you tomorrow? For you yesterday? That's the painkillers kicking in. So any surprises for that squad yesterday, Mark?
Yeah, I didn't think Bajrami would play, to be honest. When I sat there as well, they sort of played a wee diamond again and tried that, which sort of worked as sort of another Vine McGregor, and I actually thought he was playing well. I wouldn't have took him off. I thought he was doing okay, to be honest, in the game. I'm not saying he was great, but he was doing the job that he was asked to do, and sometimes that's all you can do as a player. I know we're wanting him to go and be more creative and do different things, but yesterday he was given a job of stop Callum McGregor playing, I think. And I think we did, as you said, we started okay in the game, and I think he done that. I think Bajrami was a sort of a surprise inclusion for me, but I thought he played quite well, in fairness.
Yeah, no, I think he did actually. I think he added something that we haven't seen from him from a few weeks. He's definitely not at the levels he was when he seemed high flying kind of when he came to us. He was looking good out on the left, and then just started to stagnate a lot, didn't he? We had a strong bench. Ryan, obviously our bench, we had Oscar Cortez, Haji, Egaman, Casemiro, which is a name out from the cold, McCausland, Inciala, Danilo, and Bailey Royce. So quite a strong bench, actually, when you compare it to Celtic's bench. Was there any players you thought might feature off the bench a bit more, Ryan?
I was surprised they didn't bring Egaman on a wee bit earlier. Cherny wasn't having the best of games, and I think there was obviously video footage of him getting into the dugout and having a wee smack at it because of frustration. Hopefully, he's frustrated with his own performance because it's not to the level that we've come to expect of him over the course of this season. So, I feel sometimes with Cherny, he's quite an easy player to play against. Once you get his number and you realise he's always going to want a favour to go into that left foot, that you just turn him into traffic, and Celtic were doing that with him constantly. He was trying to find his way across the box and not really having any kind of penetration or getting any shots in and goal and stuff. So I think I'd have liked to see Egaman coming on a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I think I agree there. Deano, do you think that Cherny being doubled up on, is that kind of a problem that Rangers have? The fact we don't have somebody out on the left that can kind of do the same, like an early days Ryan Kemp figure. If we had two, somebody on the left, somebody on the right that could do that, do you think we might have a little bit more luck with players like Cherny? Because is he realistically just going to get doubled up on now?
It was actually exactly the same as Ryan Kane, because we didn't have somebody really on the right that was a focal point for us, like what Kane was. So it didn't matter who we played against, there was always two or three marking Ryan Kent, wasn't there? So because we didn't have that balance then, and we don't have it now. So I guess that's one thing that we've got to address going forward, is that we've got two focal points and attacking outlets on either side to give the opposition more to think about, because it's quite easy to set up against that. And Celtic proved how easy it was, as Ryan just alluded to there, once you realise how Cherny plays. It's easy, isn't it? So, and I fortunately didn't have the best of games.
Yeah, no, he didn't, did he? Mark, come to you now, big man. Obviously, before the game started, we had a big tifo unveiled, which had that infamous picture of Graham Souness, not Michael Stone, as it's been reported on some social media accounts, but that famous picture of Souness with "Take aim against the rebel scum." So, of course, it's an absolutely magnificent tifo. May the 4th be with you. It was Star Wars Day yesterday. You a big Star Wars fan, Mark?
No, not for me, unfortunately. No, that's not my cup of tea. So, no the Star Wars anyway. Definitely not. Not for
No, the
me.
Star Wars. No, the Star Wars. There was a lot obviously made about the banner yesterday. Do you think it went a bit overboard in regards to just people being offended for the sake of it? Or do you think there was more to it? Did people have a point?
I think it's just the whole woke. Everybody, it's cool to be offended. It's a banner. What, you know what I mean? We go, it's all right. Celtic done it early in the season for the guy for the IRA. Aberdeen can fly. We hate all Hun scum, but we do anything, and it's just the usual. No one likes us. It's just it beget. Look, we didn't call us young glory yesterday either, did we? The boy from the bowl, or whoever it was, it threw the ball, and 10 or 15 vapes also flew at the goalie. I get it. People may be frustrated, but that has to stop. But we're trying to get into the banner we can take. Nobody gets hurt, nobody gets injured. But how many times? What's he going to do? We're going to get the stand closed. That's what's going to happen. Now, I'm not saying I was sitting in the Copeland yesterday. Where it come from? As I say, who's going to pick the individual out? Where exactly did it come from? I'm not sure, but it's either that or you're going to need to start keeping the nets up that they put up for, which was up in COVID to stop the ball going out. To do something. So I think we need to have a wee look at ourselves, because it's not been the first time. Let's no sugarcoat it or try and say anything about it. It's not been the first time that's happened, and it seems to be a slight issue that we have. And don't get me wrong, I know it happens at other grounds, and even at Parkhead there's missiles getting thrown at our players when Agawan scored the goal and we run into the corner, and numerous items are getting thrown onto the park. But as you were throwing glass bottles at people here, it's dangerous. As I say, you can't sort of back anything up, wait and go, oh well, or maybe a young boy or whatever. It has to stop. We're trying to get new investors. The first thing, Sky Sports News are showing that, they're not showing the game. They'll take it away for Rangers yesterday. It's a fantastic goal, which you'll not get spoke about because it's a dead rubber game, but it's really good play. It's nice interchanging. It's a good step over for Cherny, who was non-event, and it's a good finish for Dessers. But everything at that game now is a big tifo or throwing something onto the park. As I say, the banner, Please Scotland have come out. It's a banner. Nobody gets hurt. As soon as done it years ago, it was laughed off then. It was maybe it was okay to do it, but I think we need to watch what we're doing. As I say, some of the fans need to, they're going to spoil it for other good fans that are going there every week and paying the hard-earned money, that are going to get banned for sort of their stand or their seat because of some, unfortunately, lads, there's idiots amongst us, unfortunately, when things like that happening.
Yeah, no, bottles and vapes and stuff. It's something, sadly, you see. It's not just a Rangers problem. It's this problem in Scottish football. Yeah. You do see it at grounds, and it is foolish. It's stupid, and it shouldn't happen. No, totally agree there. Totally agree. Ryan, we started the game quite well. First minute, we cracked the crossbar with a header. And first 20 minutes, we were looking quite good. Raskin had a goal ruled out for offside as well. What do you make of our start? Did that surprise you, or did you just know that was coming?
No, I think they said in the commentary yesterday in Sports Scene that in the last 5 games, the last 5 Old Firm games, there's been a goal in the first 7 minutes in each of the last 5. So it didn't surprise me. It was going to be either us or them that came out the traps flying and try to put an early marker down. Glad it was ourselves, obviously. Great to see we've actually started to learn how to become a threat from corners again. Because it was well publicised how bad we were, and we hadn't scored a corner all season. Then all of a sudden we look as if we're pretty much a threat from every set piece that's coming in. Raskin's one of the shortest guys in the park, and he seems to be constantly winning headers. So it's just something else he's added to his game, and he's doing well with. I don't understand the way they done it a couple of times. It was kind of throughout the game where all the players are standing on an offside line as the free kick's taken. I don't quite understand the logic behind that. And I know they're hoping that they're going to drop in as it's taken, but they're just leaving a lot to chance. And if they had just taken that half-yard step to the right-hand side, Braskin's goal would have been onside. I don't quite understand the logic of everyone standing offside as it's coming in, because the way things are, VAR, they'll find a way not to give Rangers a goal, and they'll find a way to give them a goal. And patterns of assistance that we've seen throughout the last couple of years that will just carry on happening. But it was obvious that there's no arguments against it. Raskin was 100% offside. But as I say, I don't understand what the coaching team's logic is behind the way they're setting themselves up at the set pieces on deep free kicks.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Obviously, you see it in England quite a lot where, especially a few years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, where people would be offside, then come back onside just to confuse the kind of defenders. But we didn't seem to do that at all, did we? So, yeah, no, it was definitely a bit of a strange one. So weirdly, after that kind of 25 minutes, we kind of dropped off dramatically, Dino. And we looked like we were just letting Celtic have time on the ball. They were coming forward. We weren't really closing them down. Did that start worrying you a little bit?
Aye, of course it did. Kind of thought that they were going to actually go and score. They having all that possession and all that sort of ball in our territory, so to speak. But then if you actually look at it, kind of just did feel like the end of a season game as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
So but obviously playing name at Ibrox, you fear the worst, and but us hardly getting any sort of substance going forward. It was in the back of your mind they could score at any time here, and luckily they didn't.
Yeah, luckily they didn't. They did come close as the first half went on. Ida kind of failed to play in James Forrest. Also, Ida had a chance himself, didn't he? Where you would think if that was Kyogo, that would be in. But then we broke away. And the man that was pretty anonymous throughout the game, the enigma who we're probably going to spend now about 10 minutes talking about, Mark, is, of course, Cyril Dessers, who gets the goal. Dessers, it didn't really feel like it suited him this game today. He was involved in the first few minutes and then really dropped off. We weren't exactly playing with a lone striker, but it did feel like he was a bit out the way. But a great goal from him, a great finish, and it was a great counter-attacking move, eh, Mark?
Yeah, it's a great goal. As I say, that either goes 1-on-1, and just before that, then they try and it's a cover ball for Boy Ingles for a corner, but we sort of defend it, and then we go to goal basically. It's a great goal, but it's a good finish. It's good interplay, but as I say, for Dessers, it's hard. It's hard to watch sometimes with Dessers yesterday because we're all talking about like we played 4-3-3 or we're meant to have played 4-3-3. But see, when you look at it yesterday, Barron sat in front of the back four and you had Diomande and Raskin just ahead of him. Then you Berjami just ahead of him. So Barron was the spare to go left or right. But that means Czerny and Czerny causes a lot of issues yesterday. A lot of issues with no even tracking back. But Taylor was getting on the ball. But then, effectively, Dessers is on against Ralston, Scales and Carter Vickers. Because we were wanting Barron to be spared because if they went down, like we were talking about earlier on, Rangers are predictable and it's all down the one side. It was Ryan Kent and you could then overload in that area. But because they're happy to go down either Taylor's side or it's normally Johnson, it was Ralston's side yesterday, we sort of a sacrifice Barron to go. If it goes to the left, he'll go across that side. And if it goes to the right, he'll go back across that side. And if you watch Barron's heat map, it's basically going side to side across the park a lot of the time. But that then in terms, Czerny wasn't really tracking back. Jeffy didn't have the best of games on the other side, which means Dessers was probably never in between the two centre-halves. Apart for the goal, he probably wasn't central enough at any time, but it was to do with the way we set up. Because, as I say, there's an argument, couldn't you? You could have went man for man in the middle and you could have went on Hatate, McGregor and Engels and just went, right, we're going to go man for man. But we try to play a sort of a wee box sort of a shape in there again, and a wee diamond with Czerny off the one side, which left them. They were happier. I think Ferguson's whole thing was, well, if Ralston gets on the ball, he's not going to do anything. So Dessers can then shuffle across, but then we're all moaning at him because he's not holding the ball up, he's not in the right position. It's a sort of a no. He can't really win on that. If you're going to do that, I think you have to play Iggerman with him at the start and plays two forwards. So as you then we're cheating and you've got somebody to bounce off of because Czerny was then caught between a gap between Tavernier at right back and sort of in between Dessers, and he was really, apart from the step over for the goal, and he had a shot that was the keeper sort of moves his feet well, he tip over the bar with a deflection early doors, but I don't think he had anything else sort of within the game. So I think Dessers does get a tough at times. He doesn't hold it up and he brings a lot on himself, but yesterday, I think, was a lot to do with the way we set up as opposed to actually Dessers being poor.
Yeah, it was. No, it's a very good assessment because great comment came in from Thomas. Dessos was on the left off the ball, then a number 9 on the ball. I guess trying to create a little bit of organised chaos, like you say, with that kind of diamond, but people moving around. Ryan, did you think the formation suited us yesterday, especially middle to front? It did feel like a little bit like we both cancelled each other out a little, I think. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think that's a fair analysis of it. Obviously, the team's been set up in such a way to try and keep McGregor as quiet as they possibly can. We've had situations in games gone by where I think I actually made a comment a couple of years ago that might as well hand Cal McGregor the keys to the front door. He's got that much space on the park. So they're doing their best to try and nullify them, but we're trying to exploit their strengths, but I don't think we're doing our best to exploit their weaknesses as well. Spoke about Dessers there and where he's playing. Most of the time, he was occupied by Cameron Carter-Vickers, who's obviously their best centre-half. For me, he should be going and standing on Scales because you'll get a bit of change out of Scales. Scales isn't comfortable on the ball. He's likely to make mistakes, and we can see from his goal how easily he shrugged them off to show his strength to get his goal from it. We don't exploit the weakness they've got with Ralston as well. Ralston will constantly give the ball to you if you pressure him, put him under there, and I don't think Jeffrey really get anywhere near him. Anytime Jeff got up the park, he was looking to come inside and not actually use the width of the park to get crosses in. So, I think I wouldn't be comfortable playing that formation every single week. I think there's better, there's better personnel within the squad. I don't think that would be one, but I understand that obviously they're looking to make sure that they're not going to go out and take a hiding as well. Because if we hadn't have done that formation, there's every possibility they could have ran over the top of us yesterday.
Yeah, I do totally agree there, Ryan. I felt that they were still allowed far too much time on the ball, especially after that kind of half-hour mark. And you don't want a player like McGregor to have too much time on the ball because he can create. But we did limit their little 3 pass thing that they normally do, where it goes out to the left or out to the right, and then it's bang bang, then they're in the box. I think we limited that completely. I think we defended very well. I think the experience of Leon Balogun being in there, I think, really did help. Deano, what did you reckon to Balogun's performance yesterday? He was unlucky a minute in, hitting the crossbar with a header. He had a great challenge as well from behind where he kind of slid in and got the ball. Oh, could we have him for another year, or do we need to just at the end of the season that's it? What do you reckon, Dino? Where do you stand with Leon at the minute?
I'll be honest. If he was able to stay fit, I would keep him. I know there's the cry to keep him on and have him around the building, and I mean, he's quite an awful lot of money to be good for being around the building, in my opinion. I can't imagine that he'll be on low wages. And I do understand that he's been a good servant to Rangers. He gets what Rangers are about and things like that. But when you struggle to play, and then, like, hypothetically, comes to March next year, we've got 2 injured centre-halves, we've got 1 suspended. You've got Inciala and Balogun are your 2 that are left. We're going into the, potentially title deciding Old Firm game. Do it's things like that? Is that the position that we're going to be in for bringing him in? Because he's not going to be first choice. He is going to be 4th or 5th choice, isn't he? So I wouldn't be against him leaving, but I can understand people's reasons as to wanting to keep him, is my point. He was brilliant yesterday. With him obviously only being in 1 training session after his fracturing his cheekbone, I was a bit pessimistic about him being able to come in and perform yesterday, but he didn't let that put him down. He was superb yesterday, and to be honest with you, I'm going to be critical. He should be scoring that. I don't think he's unlucky. I think he should be scoring that.
He's unmarked, yeah.
He's a free header, just outside 6-yard box. It's bread and butter for any sort of player that's good at heading the ball. Do you know what I mean? So, bit difference if the ball fell to me, you wouldn't be expecting me to score that, but it's Leon Balogun, So I understand why people would be against. People are for him staying next year, but I'd be happy for him just to say thanks very much for your service and look at other resources.
Look at other resources. Well, it sounds like Coppin, if Coppin stays in a role, and the 49ers Enterprise has got a lot of work to do over the summer. There was a good comment that came in earlier in regards to the Hadji penalty incident. I'm having a look for it. I can't find it. But basically, I'll come to you on this, Mark. Was it a penalty for you? The kind of coming together in the box with Hadji. Is it even really worth talking about, would you say? Or do you think there could have been something in that? Have you seen them given?
What I've definitely seen him given, but what I would say is, I think for me, I don't think it's a penalty. But when you look at the one that Hadji was given against us at Easter Road, I don't think there's any difference. Personally, I don't think it's a coming together. But and if you even look, we'll go way back, and I know everybody spoke about it. What difference was when Dessers rolls Lagervelker at Ibrox before, gets his body in the way, and they pull it back? Personally, I don't think. I think if it's given against us, we're screaming and shouting. Personally, I think it would have been given against us, to be honest. I listened to Ref Watch today on the way home from work, and they're the same. Jay Bothroyd and the girl Sue Smith, I think it is. They both think it's a penalty, or they can see why it would be given a penalty, same as Tenally's and down south. But as I say, I think if it goes against us, I think we're absolutely fuming. I've seen them given, and I think that's the big thing. We don't have any consistency in here, and when all these things seem to go against, they seem to go against us. We all talk about that was the 4-4 for Rangers have not lost, and should have a penalty in the semi-final, which we don't get.
Correct.
You've got the two, and you've got the Bilbao won last week. You don't get with Dessers, which is a clear pull. And they just feel as though they say, they even themselves out over the season. It just seems to so as we never getting even the Celtic yesterday, whether it's luck or whatever, get every single break of the ball. Even to their goal, Suter hits it and Maeda dangles a leg and it hits off it. Any other time, and it ricochets, it goes right to his feet and as you're in the line of the goalkeeper in various bits and pieces. And I think Ryan said it earlier on, they seem to find a way not to give us decisions or not to give us goals, and it seems to be like that. It seems to be right now everything seems to go against us for whatever reason. They've got this big, Rangers get everything, but they won yesterday as well with Tavernier. It's a disgrace. He wins the ball, clean tackle, you're on the break, he gives a foul. I think they actually got the part, and that's where their goal comes from, near enough from that free kick, or it's just in the build-up to it when we're actually driving away and going to go and get it. So I think it would be a soft one, but certainly in Scotland I've seen, as I say, I don't think the one that Hibs got was a penalty either. So if you're given one for me, you must be given both.
Must be given both. There we go. Interesting comments from Mark there. Ryan, obviously we'll go through the match officials. So it was Nick Walsh who was the man in the middle yesterday. We had a collective groan when we heard that announced. The VAR referee was Andrew Dallas. The assistant referee number 1 was Frank Connor. Assistant referee 2, Dougie Potter. And the fourth official, the one and only Kevin Clancy, with the VAR assistant being Andrew McWilliam. Ryan, what did you reckon to Nick Walsh's performance yesterday? For me personally, a little bit uneventful.
Yeah, but he's got to put McGregor in the first half, the way he's pushing Raskin. McGregor actually borderlines assaults Raskin, to be honest, the way he's pushing him about. He needs to control the Celtic players better than what he does. Every time something happens, there's 3 or 4 Celtic players on him. Now, my understanding is it should only be the captain that's talking to the referee now. Is that actually became an official rule?
Aye.
Yeah, but every 2 seconds you've got Greg Taylor's at him. You've got everyone's at the referee, and simply he's just got to book them because it's dissent, and he's not controlling them, and he's letting the players referee the game, which should never be the case. So he's got a lack of control there. He books Bailey Rice for a ridiculous tackle that previously McGregor had made a tackle similar to that, and Ralston also made a tackle, but he books Bailey Rice straight away for it. And then starts to get himself a little bit card happy towards the end of the game as well for some reason. But overall, there was nothing too majorly, controversial about it. I don't know if you want to go into their disallowed goal, goal there with that, but that's offside. It's as simple as that. The player's standing in the vision of the goalkeeper. He's standing in the guy's eye line. So it has to be given as offside. He's basically, there's been a shot at goal and he's standing in an offside position between the goalposts. It has to be offside. As long as he's not active, he's not interfering with play. He's between the goalposts. He's in the way of the goalkeeper. If he's out with the goalpost, fine. For me, that's not offside. But if he's standing in between the goalposts as a shot is taken in an offside position, he's offside and the goal shouldn't count. Because he's regardless of where he touches the ball in there, nobody knows what the goalkeeper's thinking apart from the goalkeeper. And you actually see Kelly as the ball goes in, he kind of slightly hesitates. And as soon as he sits up, he points towards Maeda and said he's standing offside. So he has impeded the goalkeeper some way.
I think that's the thing. Obviously, there's been a deflection in there coming off Suter. Let's talk about the goal now. Obviously, in these situations, I've always found Celtic are much better in a stramash in the box. We are never good at clearing the ball. They're very good at getting on the end of anything. Shot comes in. It looks like Kelly's going to save it, but then it comes off Suter's arm, deflects, and there is somebody between the goalpost and Kelly at the time. So let's read the actual ruling. So in this scenario, the players likely interfering with the goalkeeper's ability to play the ball either by obstructing their vision, affecting the movement, and causing hesitation due to their proximity to the ball's path. Therefore, the goal should be disallowed and an offside should be called. So this aligns with the modern interpretations of Law 11, especially in the VAR era football, where such decisions are scrutinised closely. So that's kind of the ruling on it. Just
he's offside.
Paraphrased. Yeah, I think the thing is, they've obviously looked back at it, and the fact that the referee did put his flag up. The assistant did put his flag up. Now, it looked like it came off him from the camera angle, so it didn't. You saw the deflection, and it didn't come off the attacker that's there. But you can see that Kelly is looking at the attacker while he's kind of diving for the ball. It is kind of, it might not be directly in the line of sight, but it is definitely something that you can really argue that, it is interfering with play because he knows he's got to have an eye on him. Where do you stand with this? Celtic's equaliser, obviously flag came up for offside. It was reviewed, not given as offside. Is that offside for you? Because when you look at the wording of the ruling, that could really be attributed to that as being offside.
Well, he's right in front of Kelly, in his line of sight. I mean, it's bizarre that that's not given as an offside. I mean, I would really like to hear the audio on that and how they were able to decipher that it was that he wasn't offside. I'd really like to hear that.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because, Mark, is this just a little bit of us just kind of maybe not clutching at straws, but because he wasn't exactly in front of him, but he was next to him. What's your take on it? Should it be declared offside, or are we just are we making something bigger out of it than what it should be?
I'm sure the great Brian Clough once said if you're inside the 11 or you're inside the lines, then how you know affecting play. So it's the old one, isn't it? If you're offside, you're offside. I get it probably sounds like sour grapes and that for us, but I think that's the other way. They say it's offside. That's just the way I feel at the moment. If that's a strike for Czerny and Dessler's just standing there, I think it's called offside. Whereas they seem to get it.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. If you look at that, if that was at Parkhead and it was the shoe was on the other foot, it'd be interesting to see what the decision is there. As Deano says, it would be interesting to hear what the kind of VAR audio is, because I try and keep up with, the IFAB laws of the game. You look every year where they make kind of tweaks. I'll be honest with you, though, I'm at a point now where I don't know what handball is. I'm at a point where you look at some offsides where some of these lines are drawn. The images that they use for offside as well, there's not enough frames, so there's like a frame between them about to kick the ball, and then the next frame's the ball's already in motion a lot of the time when a lot of these decisions are made. Do we need to simplify things, Ryan, when it comes to things like this, because we just don't have the technology yet to make an accurate decision on some offside calls?
Definitely. It's once you see this, like basically the guy's toes offside. But you see something that they're drawing lines and the camera's at an angle to the park, and it's like diagonal lines going across the park. So the technology is not at an advanced level enough. You need daylight. if they want to get involved in offside decisions, there needs to be dealing. It needs to be a clear and obvious error from the linesman that they're ruling. The linesman says the guy's offside and it turns out that he is onside. They're overruling a clear and obvious error by the assistant referee because he made a mistake. That's the only thing that VAR was never meant to referee the game. It's there to assist the game. And it's to stop clear and obvious errors of people handballing it and on the line, wrong guy getting sent off. It's ridiculous. It's almost as if the linesman will stick his flag up. The players will go mental at him and say, listen, I'm just sticking my flag up just to alert you. The VAR is going to sort it out. But that's not what VAR is there for. And as far as being in the stadium yesterday is concerned, nobody's got a clue what's going on. It was similar to what happened to the Bilbao game. I missed the Bilbao game because I was on holiday. But it's a similar circumstance that at one point Walsh puts his hand up as if it's offside and he blows his whistle. And you're thinking, right, it's offside. And we all start cheering. And then next thing you know, he's got his finger up to his ear again and he's telling him and he's putting his hand up. Like, mate, what are you doing? But what is actually going on here? And nobody knows. And the next thing you know, he does this TV sign again. He puts his hand towards the middle of the park and they all go nuts. And like, what's going on here? He was clearly standing in an offside position. Like, why have you given that goal? And nobody knows. And then you're on your phone to your pals. What's going on here? Blah, blah, blah. What happened here? And then you're having to text your mates. You're hoping the phone signal's going to be working because it's usually horrific in the stadium. Nobody knows what's going on. Whereas simply if they just have the referee mic'd up to say, guy was standing there, blah, 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 deemed not active, goal. Everyone's like, right, okay, at least you know what's going on. But you're guessing. But it's so unprofessional, it's ridiculous. When people call us like a farmers league and a tin pot league, I'm not surprised because things like that's just absolutely ridiculous.
I do agree, yeah, because you look at England now, they've got a lot of this kind of automated now, some of this to a point where it's automatically done. He's told in the ear, yeah, no, it's fine. I remember being at the Old Firm, the Michael Beale Old Firm, where, the roof goal, that incident where obviously it was brought back for the Dessers foul, and I'll use that kind of words. It barely was a foul, but that whole kind of 3 to 4 minutes, you have no idea what's going on. Then it looked like the ref pointed for centre, so it looked like the goal had been given, but it hadn't actually. Nobody had a clue what was going on. And considering that was a couple of years ago now, you think they kind of would have got to a point where we sort things out like that now, and we can actually see the guys in the VAR room should be putting stuff on the screen saying, right, this is what's happening right now, checking this, checking that, because you just have the generic VAR like checking for offside. And yeah, things do have to change with that because it takes far too long. And again, it's the open to interpretation. Was the man in an offside position? Yes. Was he directly interfering with play? And I think that's the bit that it depends how you're feeling that day, so to speak, if you think it is or if it isn't. And that can be affected with the referee by where he's standing at that moment. He might be standing in one position. It might look like it's affecting more than when he's standing in another position. And that's where I think it kind of breaks down a little bit. But
it's for transparency as well, mate, because we keep talking about all these conspiracy theories and getting hard done by it. It adds an element of transparency to the decisions as well.
Yeah, totally agree. And Thomas here's got a good comment. We should be hearing VAR when it's goal penalty decisions. It wouldn't be too difficult to do that. Obviously they'd have to make sure they're being professional when they're doing it, but that should be the case anyway. We've heard some of the audio, and some of it a lot of the time is absolute garbage because everybody's shouting over each other. Nobody knows what's happening. We all remember the audio from the League Cup final, which still is unbelievable to this day, when you still hear it's in the box, penalty. You hear actually somebody say that early on and it just kind of gets ignored. But yeah, it's one of those. It's the Goldfish Bowl of Scotland. There's never any proper accountability, and we just move on, basically, don't we? So obviously the game kind of at 1-1, it was kind of evenly poised. I think we came back into it a little bit. Now we had the substitutes kind of come on. Obviously Hadji came on 66 minutes with Egerman for Bajrami and Cherny. Dino, was it a high time that we saw Egerman? Do you think he should have been on before this?
I would have started him. I would have had him starting up front in place of Dessers. As I said in the pre-match, scoring such an emphatic winner at Parkhead, coming into this game, he's going to be filled with confidence. So he's going to be our starting number 9 hopefully next season. So you want him to be playing in these games. I don't think Dessers will be here next season, so that's where my head's at with that. Again, and then bringing him on out of position, it's clear as day for us all to see that he just is not effective unless he's through the middle. Simple as that. I mean, Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles can see that, but Barry's continuing to play it that way, do you know? So, aye. And Clement obviously did as well. I didn't understand what they see. However, I would have had him on sooner as well. And I know people are saying that Tierney wasn't having the best of games, but given that we're at this moment in time, we are a moment's team and we do seem to pass the ball to Tierney for a moment of magic. I still think that, you know, he has that in his locker, irrespective of him playing good or bad. I still think he is going to pop up with a moment here and there. I would have kicked him on, to be quite honest, and I would have taken off Dessers and Bajrami and brought on Hadji and Igaman. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, they were interesting subs, and when I saw that Eggman was being warmed up, I thought he was coming on for Dessers, but it was a surprise to me as well. Obviously, Cherny didn't have the best game, but he was kind of thwarted out there on the side. You know, it's part of the game plan. Maybe they could have changed, I don't know, swapped him over to the other side. Gerard was good at doing things like that. But some interesting ones. Obviously, we had Oscar Cortez still on the bench, the man we are going to stump up 4.5 million for in the summer mark. Should he got some game time yesterday? Should we be seeing more of Oscar Cortez, considering he's going to be our player next season?
I think Barry's alluded to it in a couple of his pressers, though, isn't he? Is he still doing enough to go and get the minutes? He's now been in, 4 or 5 squads in a row, so how well is he training? Would that have gave us a natural pace out wide? Could that have been him and Wegerman through the middle, as opposed to sort of a Hadji? It looks as though Hadji's probably Rangers' career's now over after the injury again. His knee sort of went and buckled under him, I think, so is he going to risk his sale in the next 2 weeks? So unless he signs a new deal, will that happen? So, but look, we said it, didn't we, after the sort of when the league was sort of done, when the split happened. I think we all were on pods at various times in that week and said, well, let's go and play NCR and play Danilo and play Cortez to see what we're going to be left with. Because as you see it, 1 week you're going through the team and you're thinking, right, Balogun was a great point tonight, wasn't it? We were all going, he has to go, and now I'm like that with Dino is sort of on the fence. Does he get another? Do you keep him for a year? He becomes your 5th choice centre half, but we know he never let us down. He's going to train well, pay as you play, maybe at his age, as opposed to a sort of a whatever he's on at the moment, but at a just sort of a salary, and so he's there. So it's interesting, as I say. You wanted these boys to get minutes. Is it just the Cortez just trains now to the end of the season? We've got 2 home games left, then also away to Easter Road. I would imagine he would feature, or you'd like to think he would feature in one of them. Only person I thought that was on the bench yesterday that maybe wouldn't affect the game was McCausland. I just don't think he's good enough, unfortunately. But as I say, the rest of them, as I say, I thought with a relatively strong bench. Looking at it, wasn't littered with kids at all. Casemiro could have came on for Jeffy, I thought, because I thought Jeffy was struggling, and maybe sat at the left-hand side. I thought he struggled a wee bit. But yeah, it'll be interesting, the Cortez one. Is he doing enough? Is he doing enough away for the park? Because Fergie doesn't seem to suggest that he is, or does the shape that we play actually suit him anyway? Yesterday we really played with no width. So yesterday your width was coming from Tavernier and Jeffy, supposedly, wasn't it, with everybody tucking in, but that sort of what didn't really work either. So Cortez is an interesting one, because as you say, we've got him next year, and nobody's going to buy him. So unless we pay the money and have to loan him out straight away to get him to go and get minutes, then I don't see sort of is it just another Matondo where he's going to be stuck with him for the next 3 years, unfortunately. Don't get me wrong, he could prove us all wrong, but you never know. You never know.
There was a side tweet yesterday. I was thinking that, you know what, this game is crying out for a Matondo style player, because I think just out on the left, it would have been good to have somebody with just that little bit of pace. But obviously, Matondo is coming back to Rangers. He has been released, so we'll see him again in the summer. So that'll be interesting. But Ryan, obviously, we saw Casemiro on the bench, the man out from the cold. He featured in the Glasgow Cup final last week at Firhill and had an absolutely fantastic game. Scored a great goal, obviously with the B team. Do you think it could have been a shout to give him a few minutes later on in the game? Do you think he'll be part of plans next season, even if it's a loan again?
Yeah, I think there's an option to buy him. I think it's only £1.5 million or something like that. So it's a relatively low risk one. We just need to see over the next kind of few weeks how he recovers from the injury. I think I'd like to see us take him in for pre-season before we commit to any sort of deal for him, just to see how that recovery does go. But the boy, he seems like a talented kid. He's versatile as well. He can play anywhere right across the back line as well. And we've seen John Sterling do that role for us, on numerous occasions, even dropping into midfield on occasion, out wide right as well, on a couple of occasions as well. So we do need versatile players within the squad. It's always great to have a guy sitting on the bench that can go on and play, a multitude of roles. So I would, depends how things go with the recovery side of things. I was surprised to see him on the bench. I don't know if there's any news on Proper. I think he was obviously not in the bed. I don't know if Proper's injured. I'd missed the pre-match news on that side of things, but I don't know if he's actually just been completely dropped out the squad or if it was an injury. Maybe find out about that. Maybe somebody can comment on that for us. But it's a strange one. The Cortez one baffles me. We've really committed to that, and it's probably going to go down as just a bad bit of business when it's said and done. It'll just get added to the list of players that we've overpaid for. It's just not going to work out. It's just annoying that there. But if Cortez had the season that Tierney had for us, if he hadn't suffered those bad injuries, and he's bagging in goals and getting assists for us, and he's all over the place, we're looking at £4.5 million going as a bargain. So it's unfortunate, but that is football at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, it certainly is. I did, again, I always say I love the look of him in that 5-0 game against Hearts. It looked like we'd finally found somebody that was really good. I think he primarily played on the left, but was playing on the right for us. But he was versatile, so you could actually change wings with him, which is quite handy. I think there's a player in there, but I don't know if he's really been stunted with his injury layoff, because it does seem that even Clement, although he was kind of mainly injured under Clement, we didn't really see too much from him in Clement's latter stages. And obviously Barry Ferguson's barely uttered his name, which I guess tells you all you need to know at the minute. Maybe he doesn't train well. We don't know. We don't see what goes on at Auchenhowie. But I think that with Ferguson's standards, I think that there's a lot of players that I think he's not exactly thrown them under the bus in some of the press conferences, but he has gone through and said, not good enough at all. And I don't know if some of that's come out in training and he's really just not happy with certain players, because you look at Danilo and, obviously we all hear about Danilo's not a great trainer. We had the comments obviously about Danilo's always limping everywhere. But that's just the way he walks. But that's a shame as well. Danilo, £6 million asset. Dino, again on the bench, kind of did come on late. But I think it was an enforced change. Oh, what do you do with Danilo? A €6 million.
It's an awful lot of money sitting on the bench and run down a contract, isn't it? So if he's a bad trainer, we need to have a look at what other options there is for him in terms of going out and going to a club with an obligation to buy. Loan, because
Only else it does them.
If I'm right in saying he's got 2 years left on his contract, so he's halfway through his contract with us. So probably, to be honest with you, if he never got injured and he had played and he was good at training, now would be the time that would be wanting to sell him anyway. So I think
he's got 3, Dino.
Is it 3? Was he 5? Was he?
He's got a deal to 2028.
Of course
right,
he has.
So I guess the fact that it's 3 years to go is even more of it has more value to him than still only having one, I guess, isn't it? But there's a reason, obviously, why he's not good at training. So if they can get to the bottom of that, there's definitely a good player in there. He was good in Holland, but he's not been able to set the heather alight here with injuries and other played out of position, not getting on. As got to think, is the lack of game time having a mental effect on his ability to train? You've got to think, if he was starting every week, would he be training better? I don't know. you know yourself what it's like when you were playing football, albeit at amateur, junior level or whatever, and you were at training and somebody was playing ahead of you. You were going into training, you're thinking, what's the point of me training hard if he's going to be getting a game before me? Do you know? So you don't know if that's the case at Ibrox or at Auchenhowie anyway. So for me personally, I think, given that he's a £6 million asset and that he has 3 years left on him, I would like to see him played a lot more next season, because we need to be getting a return on investment with him. And £6 million, we've seen it all over the years. The money that we spent, Ryan Kent didn't get. He left for free. Joe Aribo, I felt like, although Joe Aribo was not as much money, but I felt we could have got more for him. Same with Hadji. Hadji's what we spent, £3-4 million on him, and he's going to be leaving for free. Do you know? So we need to get out of that habit of players not leaving for what we can actually get for them and what we should get for them. So
Jack Button's a prime example, on that.
Aye.
See, if we sold Jack Button last summer, everyone would have been up in arms about selling him last summer because he'd been our best player. But now you look at him, can he get a game for us? And he's probably going to leave for a quarter of what we could have got from last summer.
Yeah, that is an interesting one, actually, when you look at it's something that Rangers have never been too good at. Obviously, we had the period where obviously we managed to sell Bassey, Patterson, and make some good money from our assets. But you look at it in the early 2000s, we were terrible at buying players for high sums of money and not being able to actually get money back. We were shocking, and we're kind of going through that a little bit now. This is where you hope that the 49ers enterprises, with their kind of the key people there, they'll be able to at least try and get some money, because even last summer when we were told, Lammers, Goldson, we've got X amount of money, and then it turned out we've barely got anything for 3 or 4 players, to the key of a few £100,000 is ridiculous, really. And it really is. A club like us, that's our biggest potential revenue stream outside of, gate receipts and TV money. It's absolutely ridiculous. So Danilo, yeah, it's a bit of a headache, and I do like Danilo. I think he can be quite tidy on the ball. He's a very good finisher. Doesn't just lash at things, but he's not going to do too well just being on the bench. It's a good comment actually here came in from Curry, who's the head of the James Tavernier fan club. Mark, he's put, Andrew, did Tavernier's last pass sum up his season, and will this be his last Old Firm at Rangers? So Mark, how did you rate Tav yesterday? Obviously, we'll go into his final mistake, which nearly cost us. But how would you rate Tav yesterday?
I thought he done well yesterday, to be honest. See, I get the pass at the end, right? What I can't for the life of me is believe that Again took a quick throw in with 30 seconds to go, when for the whole game we've loaded the box and we're going to go long. I cannot then it shouldn't even get back to Tav. When he throws you to Barron should knock out his feet and deliver the ball. There's 30 seconds to go in an Old Firm and we're not going to go in the box. That sums up our season. That at times we've looked toothless and we don't look as though we're going to go and score goals. Scored, I think, what is that, 2 goals or something in the last 7 games or something, Ibrox. Something is a crazy stat. The last goal before that was against Motherwell, but I can't believe. I couldn't believe it yesterday. I could not believe. And it would have probably summed Tav's career up.
Be the legacy,
at
wouldn't it?
Where I thought he done well. I thought he dealt with Maeda well. Maeda didn't really causes. I know he gets the ricochet for the goal, but that sort of comes off his shooter as opposed to a Tavernier mistake. He didn't get the usual into the back post and gets a free tap in. I thought Tav dealt with him quite well, to be fair. And then you see him playing that pass, and I think it's bagging. I think Shooter's already away up because he's expecting the long throw. Or it may have been the other way around, and then he sort of he nicks in, and he looks for all intents and purposes he's going to score, doesn't he?
Oh, Curry, you bring the tone down in here. Oh, what is it? Come on, Curry.
But no, yeah. I thought he done okay yesterday. I didn't think. I thought he's been, this year when he's played, I think his better games have been part of a back 3 as opposed to a right back and a 4 a lot of the times. But I thought he done well yesterday, but then I just thought it'd have been typical yesterday for him to go and score that, and everybody would have just went Tav. But aye, Curry, thank you. Curry. But yeah, aye, as I say, I don't. Tav's out of position as well. He's going to go and launch the ball, so he's the wrong side of me header straight away. But in fairness to him, it would have been very, very easy for him yesterday to chuck it when he's 4 yards behind him, doesn't he? In the 95th minute of the game or whatever, he runs a half length of the park to get back in, which is he also deserves a wee bit of credit for. But unfortunately, I think maybe that's why Casemiro's staying about. I do think, unfortunately, he's another one that falls in. I think Tav's time probably should be up, unfortunately. He's been a great servant to us for a nominal fee. But I think, unfortunately, all these things have a cycle, and I think it's probably Tav's time to go as well.
It probably is. Yeah, the throwing situation, obviously, we would leave the ball for Tav. He would get it. And then, obviously, that one with Igomar, Tav's coming over to take it. He just takes it quickly, which was, I guess better late than never, eh? But, a bit of an uneventful game, a 1-1 draw, probably a fair result. Brendan Rodgers has beaten Barry Ferguson and looks like he never will. So there we go. I think there's something psychological with Celtic and Old Firms at the minute. I really do. I think that they don't look their usual selves in these games, and I think we might have the upper hand a little bit. Obviously, things can change over the summer. We've got a new management team, new structure in place, and big times ahead. I guess a fair result. And obviously we go into the next game, Aberdeen at Ibrox. Can we actually win at Ibrox for the first time since February? Who knows? Probably unlikely with this squad at the minute. If you could play Celtic every week, that'd be great. That's just about all we got time for, guys. The Rangers Journal will be back throughout the week with the build-up to the Aberdeen game. I'd just like to thank Ryan, Deano, and Mark for coming on with their expert opinion. So thank you, guys.
You're very welcome.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
And Deano, you can get some sunglasses on, Deano. He's just got the sun right in his eyes right there. Oh, my goodness, mate. Oh, goodness. You're getting a good tan there, pal. But yes, don't forget, guys, the Rangers Journal is sponsored by Off to the Match I Go. Head to offtothematchigo.co.uk and you get a 10% discount with the promo code Journal10. So, do have a look at the website. There's some absolutely fantastic things on there. And don't forget, you can follow the Ibrox channel on Twitter at the Ibrox channel. Follow the Rangers Journal at Rangers Journal. And every night is a Rangers Journal night. Take care, everyone. And we will see you soon. Cheery bye.